Hey, welcome to Saturday Night Protection Live. This is your host, Christopher Gelson with Protect Your Children Incorporated. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit organization based out of Tampa, Florida. Yes, where it's 85 degrees in February. So just want to rub that in for anybody who's in colder weather. But you don't have to come to Florida because, well, too many people are coming here already, and I think we're closed. Yeah, so anyway, glad to see everybody in the chat here tonight. Bryden and Kathy and Rising on Eagle's Wings. Short Bus 12. Good to see you out there. And Short Bus 12 says, it's my meth day. Congratulations on that. Very, very awesome. Glad that you're joining us tonight. We have a very special program tonight. We are going to jam-pack your brain with education and awareness on how to keep kids safe from sexual predators. This is getting ridiculous. It is epidemic proportions. I know we've been talking about this for a while, as well as many other people have. But every time a new trend pops up, it is something on social media that is sexual, and all the young girls and boys are doing it. And you can see the comments. You can see who the predators are, who the traffickers are, and it is getting out of control. And it's infuriating because we're asking ourselves, where are the parents? Where are the guardians? It's like these kids are doing this stuff, and it's like the only thing we could do is get out there and warn them. And we ask everybody to do that. Of course, if you're on Instagram or TikTok or something and you see a child doing one of these get ready with me videos or something, and it's usually young girls, and then you look in the comments and you'll see all the people on Telegram that are posting their link in bio, which means go to their bio and click their Telegram so they can contact them through there. Kathy said Blue Sky. Oh my gosh. Ohm TV. We talked about that a few weeks ago. METV. Ridiculous. There's already videos popping up where predators have been being matched with kids on Ohm TV, which kids should not be on Ohm TV to begin with. And this is nuts. Another school teacher was arrested this past week. I think we're at 150 now. I've lost track. This train is going off the rails. And it's time for some good old-fashioned education, and we keep hoping and praying every week that we do this live show that more people who aren't in the quote-unquote choir will actually see this and realize that their kids are in danger. And we rely on you to do that, to help get the word out, to share the live stream, to come back even tomorrow and share the podcast with people. I mean, what are we going to do, right? All we can do is continue to raise our voices, sound the alarm, and raise awareness on this, and then educate parents and kids on how to be safe. Bryden asked about Threads again, or Blue Sky. Both of them. Threads, we did a show on that a month ago. Threads is out of control. Every time there's a new social media site, the predators flood those sites, and kids are being trapped left and right. They're victims of sextortion. They're getting them to send photos. These predators are offering kids money, and there are some kids that are actually taking the money. We reported on that in exchange for videos or pictures, which puts them at a great risk. It is absolutely nuts. Anna Mayo, welcome to the show. Glad that you're here. So we're going to cover some in-depth education tonight and protection, and we hope that you will stay tuned to the end of the show so you can take the information yourself and share it. Share it with others. I mean, how else are we going to stop this? We're not going to put our heads in the sand and pretend like it's not happening. We're not going to get defeated. We're not going to say, forget it, it's too late, and just give up on these innocent children. It's not going to happen. We're going to continue to fight. And we're going to fight together. Because that's the only way to do it. Let me share our website with you, protectyourchildren.org, protectyourchildren.org. That's our website, and you can find a whole bunch of education and awareness on there. All of our podcasts, all our live shows and podcasts are available on the website. Click the menu. You'll see everything there. Our live shows, tips on preventing kidnapping, different podcasts with different topics, child protection videos, this in-depth protection packet right here. We're going to be teaching from some of this tonight, okay? Right here, this in-depth protection package. This is stuff that your kids need to know, that other kids need to know. Maybe you have a neighbor and you know their kids aren't maybe being protected as well as you know they should. Send them the link. Direct them to here, to this in-depth protection packet. They can read it on their own time. They can print it, save it, put it next to their bed, read it right off the internet, whatever they want to do. But they need to teach their kids what's in this packet of information. Zachary Bernhardt, missing child case that we're working on. Updates are there on the website and a whole bunch of other stuff. So definitely check out protectyourchildren.org, protectyourchildren.org. Thank you for that. Man, it is crazy. Looking at Bryden, who's in the chat, he has a show. I believe it's a live show he's going to be doing after when this one at 9 p.m. Now, we certainly don't want you to leave ours to go there, but hey, listen, ours are podcasted. So if you want to leave and go to Bryden's, we encourage you to do that. Bryden does a lot of great work, him and his whole team. They do a lot of great work exposing predators, these PDF files that are everywhere. And we encourage you to check his show out as well. The link has been posted on our Facebook page and in our Facebook group. For those of you who follow and like our page, you can see it there. And that's at 9 p.m. I believe it's Eastern. Bryden, is it Eastern time? 9 p.m. Eastern? Let us know on that. All right, so tonight we're going to get into some education and awareness, in-depth good stuff that you can learn and share with other people. But before we do that, we definitely want to bring you this week's hero segment. Talk about amazing. Talk about amazing. There are kids out there who are very precious. They're beautiful. They're selfless. They will put themselves in harm's way to protect others. They will rescue drowning people. They will, just nonstop amazing kids that are out there, and they do not get the attention that they need. We always hear about the child who did something wrong. We hear about the child that screwed up and got arrested or did, and listen, do we need to hear about those things? Yes, we do, because it raises awareness to the fact that there's a problem. But we also want to point out how awesome kids are. Everybody in this chat would agree. Kids are precious, they're beautiful, they're innocent, and they're awesome. Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of PDF files out there who don't care about these kids. They see a child on social media, and the first thing they think of is, I can use them. I can use them to make me feel good. That's what they think. They don't care about these kids. They don't care about their dreams, their hopes, their vision for the future, their talents, their abilities. They don't care about that. All they want is to use these kids for their own selfish gain. And it's our responsibility to stand up and not let this happen. And yes, Bryden said it's 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern. Visit our Facebook page or our group, and you can find the link to his show. Kathy said that PORN, yes, PORN has a lot to answer for. Yes, it does. And we're going to get into that a little bit tonight as it ties into these teachers and these children. Jay from Michigan, glad that you're here. Glad you're in the chat. So let's jump into our hero segment tonight, just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to get right into some education and awareness so we can start protecting kids and getting this information out to the people that need to hear it. So let's check this out. We'll be right back in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Stick with us.
A Clearwater High School senior has a fresh dent in her car bumper and a refreshing story to go with it. Olivia Jones was in the right place at the right time.
She helped save a woman's life by steering into trouble. 10 News reporter Bobby Lewis is on the road in Clearwater with a courageous teenager who was ready to save a life.
This is a really fancy car, right?
No, not at all.
Even clunkers have character.
A Nissan Altima 2003.
Character is a good description for the teenager who drives this one.
You're really a good driver, right?
Yes, I'm a good driver. I haven't got any accidents that were my fault.
Many cars in the Clearwater High parking lot have dents But Olivia Jones's dent is one of the freshest.
Were you scared?
Oh yeah, my legs were shaking. I didn't know. I don't know. I was really nervous.
Just 2 days before Christmas, Olivia pulled up to a stoplight at just the right time.
I thought she was texting because she was looking down, straight down, and then she started seizing, and I was like, oh shoot, she's having a seizure. I opened my door first and told people behind me that she was having a seizure, but nobody seemed to care or wanted to help. So I pulled in front of her and I let her roll into the back of my car. Then I got out, opened her door, put her car in park, took her seatbelt off, and she had like blood and she had peed herself, and she was like kind of seizing out of the car. So I just like helped her onto the floor as I was on the phone with 911.
She just jumped right in. It was amazing. It was amazing. So we're so proud of her.
Clearwater High staff can't believe what she did for a total stranger. Neither can Olivia's friends.
Oh, they think I'm dumb for doing it, but I don't know. I don't really take mind to it. I don't think it's dumb.
The student who someday hopes to be a doctor got a crash course in saving lives thanks to the car crash that changed hers.
And I always talk to them about how I wanted to be in the medical field and how I want to save people. And then when I tell them that, they're like, now you just got started. That's your like first step.
Yeah, she really did get started.
She did. That's her calling. My goodness, what she did.
Thankfully, she knew what to do and had the thought not to just ignore it and drive away.
And even being afraid, she still was
still
able
did
to go through the motions and get it right.
She's going to be a good doctor. Yeah. Olivia hasn't heard from the driver of the other car. She says she doesn't even need to hear from her. Knowing that she did the right thing is good enough for her.
All right. Isn't that awesome? That is so awesome. Let me tell you, this is what great kids are about. Here's a teenager who put herself in danger, used her own vehicle to stop another lady's vehicle as she noticed that the lady was having a medical issue in the car, rushes over there, pulls her out, gets her on the ground, calls 911. She's doing all this at the same time, right? And look at that. Her dream is to become a doctor. And here she had an opportunity, which I'm sure emboldened her even more to want to fulfill that purpose of becoming a doctor. How awesome. It's just so cool. As Kathy said, wonderful lady. That's so great. Really cool stuff. Yeah. I mean, Kathy was saying I caught some lady who was having a stroke at the supermarket one day. It's some scary stuff, but, stepping up to do the right thing is what a lot of kids will do. And as long as they're not corrupted by these PDF files, these traffickers, these scum that are all over social media, that are in our school system, that are in our neighborhoods, when those people get a hold of kids, it permanently just changes them and harms them for years and years and years. And some kids have become survivors and they've grown from abuse that they've experienced, and they've gone on to help many other kids be safe. Other kids, unfortunately, weren't so blessed, weren't so lucky. But our goal here is to educate and raise enough awareness so that people realize that this is an epidemic. This isn't like the old days where it's some creepy guy in a coat down the road that we have to worry about. Stranger danger, right? This is like stranger danger on steroids. And guess what? 90% of them aren't strangers. See, and that was the problem with stranger danger. It always had people looking outside of the ones we know. When the facts have always shown that 90% of PDF files are someone that the child knows. So while everybody was looking down for the creepy guy in the long coat and the white van, nobody was looking at home. Nobody was looking at the schools. No one was looking at the after-school programs or the Catholic Church or the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, as we've seen over the years. No one was looking there. Shelly Shells, welcome to the chat. Glad you joined the show. So it's our responsibility to raise the alarm on this and see that this is a real problem. Now, I will tell you that we are seeing more and more people posting, which is great. We're coming across stuff in our social media feeds where regular TikTok people and Instagram people are covering cases of abuse in depth, and they're raising a lot of awareness, and we want to see more of that. We don't want to be the only person in the show. No, we want Bryden's show to get popular and lots of people to tune into his show. There's a great one out there. It's Protect Our Eyes, which is another organization which is raising great, loud, screaming alarms on the dangers that kids have right on their screens. We all need to be working together to raise awareness and raise the alarms of what is happening. Because I hate to tell you, people, and Tim, welcome to the show. Tim, welcome to the chat. I'm telling you, we're losing this battle right now. And it pains me to say that. But we are losing this battle. We have millions of parents that aren't aware of the dangers. They're letting their kids do whatever the heck they want on social media. They're letting their young girls go on to every new trend. So you have all these young girls, this get ready with me, trend now that's on social media, where the girls are in their pajamas and they're saying, get ready with me. And it's like, who are they doing that for? And what we've seen with these young girls that are on these social media reels, some of them want the attention. They are being provocative on purpose. They're putting their butt out there. They're wearing these little skinny, like tops. I'm telling you, kids are hypersexualized thanks to pornography and other factors. And it's like there's just a predator waiting for a child to come out and say, hey, look at me. And it's happening a lot. And it's our responsibility to make sure we raise the alarms. All right, let's jump in. I want to tell you that children are at a heightened risk for sexual abuse. Nearly 70% of all reported sexual assaults occur to children ages 17 and under. Okay? That's just something that we have to be aware of. All right? 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be abused, we'll say, for the YouTube algorithm before they turn 18 years old. That's 1 in 4 and 1 in 6. Now think about that. That's a hard stat. So if you see a group of 5 girls hanging out, stats show that one of them has been or is being SA'd. 12.3% of women were age 10 or younger at the time of their first, you see it on the screen, RAPE. And 30% of women were between the ages of 11 and 17. And that's not a coincidence. That's the age when girls are hitting puberty, their hormones are at their highest, and and that's when the predators are targeting them. 12.3% were age 10 or younger, and 30% of women were between ages 11 and 17. Now we're going to go through some stats here, and then we're going to get into some teaching from the guidelines. More than 1/3 of women who report being ARD, we're going to say ARD because we can't say it on YouTube, ARD, before age 18, excuse me, also experience R as an adult. Survivors of child SA are also more likely to experience R and intimate partner violence as they go into adulthood. So we're seeing what happens to kids who go through this. 96% of people who SA abuse children are male. 76% are married men. And 76.8% of people who SA children are adults. Now, I'll tell you that 96% are male. I think that the female numbers are going through the roof right now based upon what we've seen. Now, the younger the victim, the more likely it is that the abuser is a family member. Imagine that. Stranger danger, right? Look down the road. Don't look at the family. The younger the victim, the more likely it is that the abuser is a family member. Of those, I'll look on the screen. We'll say Emming, a child under 6, 50% were family members. 50%. Family members also accounted for 23% of those abusing children ages 12 to 17. Abusers tend to utilize a manipulative process called grooming in order to gain the family's and victims' trust, providing them with more access to the child. Grooming behaviors may include special attention, outings, and gifts, isolating the child from others, filling the child's unmet needs, filling needs and roles within the family, treating the child as if he or she is older. Kids love that, right? Gradually crossing physical boundaries and becoming increasingly intimate and sexual. Use of secrecy, blame, tricks, and threats to maintain control. Child S abuse can have lifetime impacts on survivors, especially without support. It can impact educational outcomes, lead to heightened symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, can't say that on YouTube, higher rates of unaliving themselves, drug abuse, higher likelihood of teen pregnancy and chronic health issues. Without counseling, stats show that 25% of children who were M'd will go on to become abusers themselves. Think about that. 25% are what the studies are showing will go on to repeat the cycle. More than 90% of girls in juvenile justice systems self-disclose trauma. In fact, justice-involved girls are victimized by sexual violence at an earlier average age and for a longer average duration than other forms of abuse. I'm going to stop there for a second. Oh, Jay from Michigan, and it says YouTube won't strike you for grape or graped. Oh, there we go. I like that. I like that. It's crazy how we have to just dance around these words now. I mean, God forbid you raise awareness of a real issue. YouTube will just, they'll cut your live stream on you. Unbelievable. Jeez. Unbelievable. Oh, gosh. So let's see. More than 90% of girls in juvenile justice system self-disclose trauma. We saw that. In primary care settings, physical or SA in childhood is reported by approximately 20 to 50% of adults. Now, that's a heck of a range. Among patients with depression, irritable bowel, chronic pain, or substance abuse, prevalence of reported childhood physical or SA abuse, SA, right, runs as high as 70%. Now look, caring adults can help and protect their children. See, that's what it comes down to. We have all these people that say, I love my child, I care about my child. And then in the next breath, they're like, oh, I let them on social media. I let them have internet unfiltered. I trust them. I let them go to their friend's house for 6 hours and I don't check up on them or see what they're doing or where they've been or who they've been around. But they care about their children. It's easy to say. Now, children who have experienced abuse often keep it a secret. One of the best ways to prevent child SA is by maintaining healthy, open relationships with children in your life. So they know that you are a safe adult that they can tell if something happens. Now, look, don't just say, hey, me and my child have a great relationship. They'll always tell me. I don't have to pay attention because if something happens, they'll just let me know. No, no, those days are long gone, okay? No, because the reality is kids get trapped, they get tricked, they get threatened. Some kids are trapped in sextortion where they are afraid to tell. So it's not always an issue of, can I trust mom or dad to tell them? Sometimes they're afraid to, they're ashamed to, they're feeling false guilt. They're worried about other people finding out. So you always have to be nosy and keep your eyes and your ears open, but absolutely keep a healthy relationship with your child. And parents, believe them. Very few allegations of child SA are false. If a child discloses abuse, believe them, support them, and know the mandated reported laws in your community. And that's a little hint out to people that are in positions of authority. There are mandated reporters. There is none of this when the child says, hey, promise me you won't tell anybody if I tell you this. Now, listen, maybe someone will say, I promise I won't tell anybody, but if you're a mandated reporter, you have to tell. You have to contact law enforcement. That's just it. Parents, try to remain calm so the child doesn't blame themselves for the abuse. Listen, that happens. When parents, if they get mad and they start freaking out, the child, especially when they're younger, start thinking that they did something wrong. Now they made mom or dad mad. And then they start blaming themselves, thinking, oh, I shouldn't have told them because now they're upset. If you react with anger, the child may change or recant their story to avoid the feeling that people are angry at them. You need to remain calm. Don't judge. Make sure you listen to them. They say it happened more than one time. Don't sit there and say, well, why did you go back? Why did you let it happen? That's not helpful. You have to know how to respond, or they'll shut down. You can help set boundaries for children and pay attention when you feel that other adults are crossing boundaries with children, like demanding physical touch, like hugs and kisses, or spending alone time with a child in a school or a church setting. Hello, or we're seeing that now. All these predator teachers somehow managed to get time alone with the students outside of school. Church leaders, we've seen the same thing. You have to help uphold and model boundaries and allow children to create boundaries for themselves. Make sure that your child is not talking with or getting to know someone online or offline that you do not know in real life. This is a problem. Kids are constantly talking to people that they have no idea who they are. You can do this by monitoring their messages and the apps on their phone, listening secretly when they are playing online games. Listen, monitor the conversation. Try to hear what's going on there. And by using parental controls on their game systems, their phones, and their computers. All right, we got a few more here, and we're going to check the chat. So the question is, how can you know all the ways to protect your children? Well, listen, it's out there. The education is out there. It takes time just to look it up. Those of you that are listening to this live show, taking that step right now. Now, Protect Your Children conducts free online and in-person protection conferences that cover in detail all the ways that you can monitor and keep your kids safe from online and offline predators. You can visit our website to see when our next conference is, and if there's none scheduled, which right now there isn't, or you can't attend, then you can download a summary of the information taught by visiting our website and clicking on what? The guidelines, the protection guidelines. And finally, there's many ways that you can partner with us in our mission to protect children from molestation. Hopefully I said that crazy enough for YouTube, and kidnapping. Visit our website, click on Help the Cause, and you can see all the ways that you can help us out. Now, that's a lot of information. This means that you're probably going to have to go back and listen to this again. Joe, welcome to the chat. Glad to see you're in there. Predator Hunters, Indiana. Good to see you in the chat as well. That's a lot of stats we just threw out there. We know it's a lot of information. But what we've seen from that is a tremendous harm that this does to kids. This isn't just a sexual experience, okay? This messes with kids' heads, their hearts, their bodies, and can have long-term damaging effects for years and years and years to come. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want that on my shoulders. We care about kids at Protect Your Children Incorporated. We don't want to see any kid abused, and we're sure that you don't either. But the reality is we have to be active. We can't just say we're against it and then not do anything. It's great that you guys jump into a live show. That's fantastic. Getting educated. But then what do we do with it is the question. Do we share it? Do we share it over and over again? Do we try to reach people that aren't paying attention? That's the question. Just checking out the chat here. Wow. It's a lot of information. All right. Just seeing what's going on in the chat. All right, cool. All right. Let's jump into some basic teaching here, okay? All right. We got a special message for parents, okay? Knowledge is the best weapon in protecting your children. But without your personal responsibility and application, it is not much use, right? We can have all the knowledge in the world. But if we're not applying it, what good is it doing? And this is what we're coming across here as an organization, what we're seeing hundreds of times all the time is parents who claim that they know how to keep their kids safe, but then in the next moment, they're letting them, handing them basically to predators. Now, I want to tell you, a couple weeks ago, we made a controversial decision to post an image on our Facebook. Some of you may have seen it, and on our Twitter, YouTube, Rumble. And we had some pushback from it. We had a lot of people telling us, take it down, saying that we're aiding PDF files by putting it up. Now, we made a decision to post that, what we did. And of course, we covered up the eyes and we covered out the profile name. So, no, this girl couldn't be identified. But what we saw was what appeared to be a 10-year-old girl's body in a two-piece in a provocative pose. But the face looked a little bit older. It struck us as AI. Like someone took the body of a young prepubescent girl off social media somewhere because parents are just putting them out there. And then they used AI to put a older looking girl's face on this photo. And this is what they're doing. So parents out there who love snapping all these pictures of their kids in their bikinis, you know, and the boys in their Speedos at swimming practice, AI can now remove those clothes. It's dangerous. And we had a lot of people saying, take it down. You shouldn't put this up there, remove it. And we did remove it, but we wanted to leave it up there for a week. Why? Because we wanted to shock people. And you know what's interesting? We got more engagement from that photo than we've ever had from a post that we did. No joke. Because people got outraged, and that's what we wanted. We wanted people to be outraged because this is what's happening every single day. These young girls, these young boys, images are being posted online. They're being shared with PDF files. They're trading them, getting off on them, off on your children, parents. But by all means, keep posting pictures of them. Go ahead, put it out there. So we could be educated, but if you're not applying it, then what's happening? What are we really doing here, right? Now I'll tell you about a certain situation that happened, right? There was a child, and it's on the screen, a certain child that was emmed. The parents were not knowledgeable or responsible at all. And what happened in the situation was an adult babysitter was watching the child. And the child's parents did not know that when the babysitter went out, she would leave it up to her son to watch the child. So here we go. The child was around somebody that the parent wasn't aware of and didn't follow up to check or make sure. So the parents didn't know this person. And it turned out that the person was emming and abusing the child for many months. Now, in that story, the child had counseling and treatment, which provided understanding and healing, preventing further abuse, as far as we still know today. But that's just an example. So parents, you got to watch your children. Know their friends. Know their friends' families. You got to know who your child is with. Don't be ashamed to ask your child from time to time about their friendships and their relationships with others. Please make sure you got phone numbers and addresses of who your children are with. And now today, of course, social media accounts. And we always say pray for protection. Kathy said in the chat, it's so hard to be a parent these days. It is. But at the same time, when you're educated, it becomes second nature. I mean, it's how I am with my family. I got nieces and nephews and people, and it's like anytime, like it's just always in the back of your mind. It becomes second nature to protect them. And when a new phone number pops up on their phone, and we can tell thanks to MM Guardian, which is a great app, by the way, $10 a month, gives you complete protection on your child's devices, MM Guardian. So if a new phone number pops up out of nowhere, we can say, hey, by the way, whose phone number, who's this? Oh, new friend at school. Oh, really? Okay. Well, oh, cool. How old are they? And then you're able to monitor those conversations for keywords. And there was just a case this past week of another teacher who got busted with a student. It was interesting because the parents started to get a little suspicious that something was going on. The child's behavior was changing. So what did the parents do? The parents actually went out and got a parental monitoring app and put it on the child's phone without the child knowing it. And then all of a sudden they started seeing the keyword alert baby popping up a lot. Hey, baby, hey, baby, hey, baby, hey, baby. And so the parents got the keyword alert. They went on, they pulled up the conversation, and it turned out it was this young boy, 11 years old, with his freaking teacher. And she was talking, 28 years old, talking to this 11-year-old boy, calling him baby, calling her love. Don't even want to get into it. And that's how they found out that this was going on. Smart parents. The problem is this had already been going on for 3 months, and the teacher and the child had already been engaged in relations. Think about that. Well, I tell you that all children can be at risk of abuse, either physically forced or emotionally forced. Now, understand the difference between the two. There is emotionally forced, where their emotions, their hormones are used against them to groom them, to make them believe that engaging in these relations with an adult is okay, that it's really not that wrong. And so you hate to say it like this, but the child allows it to happen, right? So there's no physical force there. There's no, you're going to do this or I'm going to go after your family. There's, nothing like that. Now the child's been groomed and manipulated and they're been taken advantage of, but that's emotionally forced. Physically forced, obviously, is you're going to do this or I'm going to do this. If you don't do this, I'm going to say this about you, or I'm going to go after your family, so on and so forth. So there's a pattern of abuse among certain children. Abusers are afraid of getting caught and also afraid of being rejected by the child, which would lead to them being exposed. Therefore, these predators, they seek the profile of a child that makes them feel like the child could be easily tricked and taken advantage of. Now, when you think about how brazen these PDF files are getting today, these teachers are like jumping on Snapchat and other social media apps, and they're sending videos and pictures, and they're talking to these kids like they have no possible inkling that it'll ever come out. They're leaving trails everywhere of what they're doing. But you see, they think that the child can be so easily manipulated that they'll never say anything. But you see, that's where you come in, and our organization comes in, and other great organizations, because we're out there saying, parents, monitor what your kids are doing. And you will find out if something's going on. Now, look, some of the kids that are at a higher risk is a child from a broken or single parent home. And this is because the abuser knows there'll be emotional pain that the child will not want to think of. So the abuser thinks that the child will accept accept sex as a way to forget. Isn't that crazy? Hey, they want to feel good, so they'd be willing to do this. How about a child that dresses in a way that's revealing of their groin or buttocks areas, or girls, obviously the upper area? And this attracts a potential abuser and also gives an indication that the child is not responsible with their body, like the pants being worn down off the hips so their underwear and boxers are showing. I mean, the kids obviously aren't too concerned about protecting the private areas of their body if they're willing to show them off or try to entice people with it. And kids do this. Now, here we are. We're not saying it's a kid's fault when they get abused. What we're saying is that, if there's a thief going through a parking lot and he sees some money sitting on the passenger seat of a car, right? And the car's not locked, so they're going to go in and take that money. Now, if the money is not sitting out there for them to see, they're not going to be enticed, right? But if they see something valuable and there's the means and the opportunity to go get it, they're going to go get it. So when you're letting your kids dress in the way that they are and get on social media with all these TikTok dances and all this crap where they're shaking their hips and moving around their waist like they're, freaking full-blown porn stars when they're like 12 years old, do you think that's going to attract a potential abuser? You're darn right it is. Number 3, a child has had their father or mother leave with little or no contact. Now, keeping in mind that abusers can be male or female, the statistics show that the majority are male, and they understand that a male or female child will be longing to have male or female attention and emotional connection. And the abuser will use that emotional void against the child. We've seen that before. We heard from one of these PDF files, it was like a month ago. Remember, we played it for you. The guy actually said, this is the kind of child that I look for. And he looks for the single parent. He looks for the child where this PDF file can step in and say, hey, I will love you and I will take care of you. Your father left, but I never will. Your mom left, but don't worry, I'll be here for you. They use that emotional void against the child, try to give the child the needs that the child feels that they have not had met. This is what PDF files will do, which shows the importance of having solid relationships with your kids. And we understand that there are situations where there are divorces and kids do have fathers that are gone. We understand that. But the important thing is to make sure that if that child has that void, that it's not being filled by some PDF file, some predator. Now, how about a child that has too much freedom in their neighborhood for large amounts of time without the parents knowing their whereabouts? Yeah, abusers track and watch for children that don't appear to be well cared for or closely monitored by adults. Thus, they feel more secure in not getting caught. And we've seen this happen a lot. Parents are letting their kids just roam around. Oh, but they have a phone. It's okay. No, it's not. They probably use the phone to talk to the person that they're going to meet. But if you're letting your kid just go roam around the neighborhood for hours and you shoot them a text once in a while, hey, you okay? Yep, I'm good. Really? That's it? Do you know where they're at? Who they're with? What's going on? No, I trust my child. They don't do anything wrong. It'll never happen to them. How about a child that's easily trusting of every adult without caution? Though not all adults are looking to abuse children, and that's true. There are good adults out there. But if the child and parents aren't aware of the warning signs, then they'll never suspect anyone. Now, an abuser can see and sense this and feels more secure in trying to fool or draw the child into sexual situations. Now, children may want to trust easily and be around a male or female abuser in order to try and fill the space in their heart and life that is left from a father or mother leaving. You know, kids are generally very trusting, and PDF take advantage of that. A few more kids who have been exposed to pornography or sex in the home. Kids of parents that are not home for long periods of time, especially in the summer. Kids of parents that abuse drugs and alcohol that are high risk. Kids that have private internet access on their phones or through their game consoles and have no parental controls in place. That's huge today. And about kids whose parents do not monitor what apps are on their phone, on their child's phone. Yeah, Bryden, great point. He said, lure them in with fake love and attention. That is exactly what they do. Now, there's a lot of information. Now, this is coming right from the guidelines that we talked about at the start of the program. All these guidelines are downloadable. One packet of information on our website, protectyourchildren.org, protectyourchildren.org. Click on Protection Guidelines. Let's keep rolling. It's a lot of information. How about some warnings and preventative measures for parents? Now remember that nearly 90% of all sexual M victims know their offender. That's 90% know the person that abused them. They were a friend of the family. Okay, or family members. In 10% of the cases, it's reported that it was an actual biological family member. Now think about that. So let that sink in for a second. 90% of all victims knew their offender. That's very sobering. So now you start going through your head about like, wait a minute, what adults is my child spending time with? And which ones have I given a pass to just because I figured I can trust them? And I'm not even asking my child about what's going on and what they do when they hang out with this person, or what kind of jokes are being told, or what kind of conversations are being had, or what they're looking at on television or on the computer. Like, you have to ask these questions. Now, of course, before your child spends time alone with an adult, make sure you talk with them about what? Good touch, bad touch. Oh, but also there's good talk, bad talk. Now, what's good talk, bad talk? All right, say you got Joe Schmo. He's a 25-year-old mentor, or maybe he's a young pastor, or maybe he's at the Boys and Girls Club, or she's, in Girl Scouts or whatever. And they're starting to tell sexual jokes to your child. Maybe they're talking in sexual terms. Maybe they're asking your child about their sexual life, or if they ever think about it. Or do they ever desire to do it? Now, why in the freaking heck would an adult be talking to your child about those things? Those are feelers, okay? That's what an adult will do to gauge how experienced the child is, how much intent the child has on doing stuff, gauge how hypersexualized the child is, so they can know if they can cross that boundary line with them. So you can talk to your kids about good talk, bad talk. It's how adults are talking to them. And by the way, older teenagers, the average age that a PDF file starts abusing is age 15. Age 15. So you might have a 9-year-old, 10-year-old spending time with a 15-year-old and you think it's no big deal. Maybe you want to ask about what kinds of things they talk about. And make sure you sit down with them and go over the warnings of this guideline with them. Make sure they understand that any sexual talking or joking toward them by an adult is absolutely wrong. Now, it's very important to find out the motivation and personal reason why a particular adult desires to spend time with a child. We're talking about mentors, volunteer big brothers, or camp workers, Boys and Girls Club workers, Catholic priests, regular priests, pastors, doesn't matter. They should make known the goals that they want to reach by spending time with your child. Let's face it, it's just not normal for an adult of the same or opposite sex to want to spend time alone with your child without an openly stated, reasonable, and shown positive reason. Let me give you an example. Glad you asked. Big brothers and big sisters. Okay? what happens there is, and other mentoring programs, they will match a child with a mentor. The first step that happens is that mentor comes to the child's house. They sit down with the parents and the representative from the organization. They go over what they want to accomplish. They go over some goals, what the mentor wants to do to help the child. The child gets to speak about what they would like to be able to, have help with. And they lay out these goals, and they lay out what they're going to be doing when they spend time together, right? And then every 2, 3 months, 4 months or whatever, the organization will step back in and meet with the child alone and meet with the mentor alone, and then meet with them together and find out how the goals are going. So there's a reason why they're spending time with that child. But if you got some adult who just wants to spend time with a child and parents are letting it happen, that's a warning. That's a red flag. We know of a situation right now in a particular family where that is happening. There's a guy, okay, who is not biologically connected to in any which way, shape, or form to the child in question. And he's asking to take the child out of school. He wanted to pick the child up at 3 a.m. in the morning, because that's when this guy gets off of work, and he was going to swing by and pick him up and hang out with him at his house. What? And one of the members of the child's family was like, sure, that's okay. No, it's not okay. What the hell does this guy want to do with this child? Why? Why does he want to spend time with this young teenage boy? Why? It doesn't make any sense. And I think we're able to raise that awareness level enough where that's not ever going to happen again. But who knows? So yeah, mentors, big brothers, camp workers, they need to make known the goals of that they want to reach by spending time with the child. Children shouldn't be hanging around with adults just because. Just because. Look in the chat. Yeah, Jay from Michigan said stranger danger was BS. Yeah, absolutely correct. You're talking about the latest stats are less than 7% are stranger. That's the latest stats. Absolutely zero background checks. And something about background checks, it's not enough. It's not enough. Background checks don't do enough. You know why? Because 88% of PDF files have yet to be arrested. We know that from years and years of statistics, okay? Most PDF files will abuse, ready for this? Hope you grab your seat. An average of 100 children before they're caught. Now, that's unbelievable. And that's because they're using tricks and threats and lies that they're telling the kids. Okay, kids have been manipulated, groomed. Maybe that PDF file has established that emotional connection that we talked about with that child. So on and so forth. There's a lot of reasons. But yeah, most kids don't disclose abuse for a period of 3 to 5 years. And do you know what kind of damage is done in that amount of time? Which is why it's so important to be monitoring what your kids are doing and talking to them about what they're doing when they're hanging around with their friends and going places and who they're with and who else is going to be there, and monitoring their social media and their messages and their internet usage. You got to discuss with them the various tricks, threats, and lies that child abusers and M's commonly use. Make sure they understand and are aware of the warnings that are listed in this guideline, okay? Make them certain they can come to you without fear. Heck, you can even test them on the stuff you're talking about here. Ask your child, hey, give me an example of good talk, bad talk. Okay, give me an example of what bad talk would be from an older teenager or from an adult. What do you think bad talk would be? And see what they say. And again, make sure of the people and friends that your children are hanging around. Now, this includes meeting the parents of their friends. Okay, you need to know who else is in their friend's house. You know how many kids have been abused by an older brother or sister or an uncle or an aunt or somebody else that happens to be living in their friend's house? And the whole time you just figure they're going over to their friend's house to hang out with Joey. But what's happening is that there's some situation where Joey's got somebody hanging out over there and that person's abusing your child. It happens, especially on sleepovers. Make sure you have numbers and addresses. Do the best you can to make sure your children aren't being exposed to adults that you don't know. And do not hesitate to check where you have to make sure that any adults your children will be around don't have criminal records, especially sex crimes. And this sadly includes church youth leaders, daycares, Boy Scout, Girl Scout leaders, summer camp staff, etc. Don't be afraid to make sure that background checks have been done on the people your children will be with. You can usually do online background checks for $20 or less. But guess what? On our website, protectyourchildren.org, you can click on the background check tab and we will do a background check for you for free. You don't have to pay any money. And that's thanks to the few people that are donating, that support us each month. We can pay for those services and we'll do background checks for free. And you'd be surprised on how much little information you need these days with the advent of the internets and the social medias. A couple more. Know the names and the ages of the friends that your children have. A fatal mistake is that when a child says, "Mommy, I have a new friend. His name is Mark, and he's really cool." And a parent says, "Oh, that's great." And goes on to make dinner. And they never ask what age of the child of this, age of this new friend is or how they met. Like, that's kind of important. One of the things we notice today is these kids, when they're talking about kids their age even, they'll say guy, right? We've heard this before. Well, there's this guy at school and they got in trouble by the teacher say. And it's like, wait, guy? You mean, was it a kid? Oh yeah, it's a kid. But they'll say guy. Well, wait a minute. A guy indicates an adult. If it's one of their kids' friends, it's right. So you have to find out how old these friends are, how they met, what they're going to be doing, where they go. Yeah, it takes a lot of work, but is it worth keeping your kids safe? It absolutely is. Now, not every person that's older than your child wants to hurt your child. That's true. But you should know them and they should be able to explain what their purpose is of spending time around and with your child. But even then, you should still keep the warnings and lookouts in mind. And of course, make sure you have access to your child's phone. Okay. We have heard from parents that have told us that the kids have passwords on their phones and they don't want to know the password because it's invading their child's privacy. Parents, if your kids have a pass lock on their phone and they don't want you to know it, why do you think that is? Why would you think that possibly could? What's the reason for that? No, parents. You have access to your child's phone whenever you want to. Let them throw a fit about it. Your responsibility is to keep them safe. And they may not understand it now, and they might say, "You're invading my privacy. You don't trust me." You know what? When they get older, believe me, they'll appreciate it. And you got to search what apps they're using, like TikTok. Likey, remember Likey? Likey is still out there and it's full of freaking predators. Likee. If that is on your child's phone, you better get that thing blocked in a heartbeat. Instagram, Messenger, Monkey's still out there too. Snapchat, the worst. And many others allow kids to message back and forth with complete strangers. You gotta look for hidden apps. Don't just go by what icons are on their screen. The old thing, you've heard this, that there's apps out there that kids want to hide from their parents, and the app enables you to title it whatever you want. So what do the kids title it? Calculator. So the parents are scrolling through the phone. They're like, let's say the calculator, no problem. them. It's not really a calculator, by the way. Well, how do I know that? I did double click on it. Why does your child got 2 calculators on their phone? They didn't remove the other one. Come on. Man. Oh my gosh, Grinder, Jay from Michigan. I know. Man. Tracy, servant of Christ, glad you're in the chat. You made a great point. She said by teaching your kids, being an example for them, you'll also teach them someday to protect their grandkids and their own kids. You're absolutely right. The example you set for them is the example that they will have. And Jay from Michigan in the chat said, yeah, they're on Grindr. Yeah, kids can get on Grindr. You know what's crazy? Kids can get on all of these adult sites because none of them, well, in Florida, they supposedly have to now. But we have found that a lot of them aren't because there was a Florida law, right? That's why Pornhub got out of Florida. But unfortunately, we know of a whole lot of other adult sites that are still accessible in Florida by kids. No age verification, no nothing. But yeah, kids can get on Grindr. Just provide a fake email. Man. Anna said, incognito mode when surfing. Yeah. Yeah, incognito mode. Now, the good thing is apps like MM Guardian or AirDroid for Android phones or others out there, they can actually monitor incognito mode. No joke. So if anything pops up anywhere, it'll let the parent know. CWS, welcome to the chat. Glad you're here. CWS says, check your children's devices often and make sure they know that you will not be angry at them if they get groomed by an adult online, or they might not tell you. Absolutely right. That is so spot on. I'm going to throw it up on the screen so people can look at that again. If your kids think they're going to get in trouble by you, then they are going to go to every length they possibly can to make sure you don't know. But make sure they understand that if they've got groomed by somebody, they're not in trouble. Okay? Your anger is going to be toward the person that did it, not them. They can come to you and tell you, and they're not going to get grounded for life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be mad at them. Brian, we appreciate that. We're just going to go look at a couple more and we're going to wrap up here. Monitor your kids when they're playing online games. Many popular games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, many others allow strangers to contact your child. Yep, Roblox. The worst. Roblox. Some online VR games, PlayStation, Xbox games actually have a voice changer feature, which enables adults to make themselves sound like kids. This is true. I will tell you that I have an Oculus. Pretty cool headset. Oculus Quest. And yeah, I can do that. There's an option within the settings where I can make myself sound like a child. I mean, is that crazy? So kids can think they're talking to other kids when really it's a PDF file adult. I mean, geez. So you think the kids just made friends with other kids because they sound like a kid. They'll say, oh, I know. I definitely know they're a kid. I talk to them all the time in the game. Oh, really? Yeah. Couple more. Many apps today encourage and teach kids to dance, quote unquote, to certain parts of songs that are provided by the apps. They record themselves and post to different platforms. That's what we were talking about at the beginning. These lyrics are often sexual in nature, and therefore the dance moves are sexual in nature. You got to monitor which videos your children are making and uploading to the different app platforms. We have seen apps where kids as young as 7, yes, 7 years old, are dancing in sexual, sensual ways, and they don't even realize it. Now, not only does this open your child up to predators, but it also starts to sexualize their mind, preparing them to put themselves in positions where they can be emmed or involved in premature sexual activity. Now, look, kids are very tech savvy. They know how to delete their browser history. They know the apps that are created with the specific intent of helping kids hide things from their parents. Hello, Snapchat. They know how to disguise and hide apps on their phones. And of course, I'm going to say here, we all know this, an app called Snapchat actually allows kids to send messages, pictures, and videos that auto-delete the moment the receiver views it. However, the person receiving it can still download it first or take a screenshot, or take a picture of it with another phone. And we'll end off right here. This is just some of the apps that kids are using today, and there's tons more. And none of these have age verification. They all allow multiple accounts to be made. They don't have ID verification, nothing. And the kids are using them. Unbelievable. And we're going to stop it there for tonight. That's a lot. Next Saturday, we hope to continue this teaching, 8 p.m. Eastern. We got a lot more to go over. But I think we've given you a lot of information tonight, a lot of things to contemplate, think about. Maybe you're going to double check your kids' phones. Maybe you'll share this to let other people know about what's actually happening. Frida Pickle is in the chat. I'm glad that you're here. It's a lot of stuff. But listen, we have the education and the knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. We have it. It's just a matter of applying it. Anna says, thank you for all the info. You're absolutely welcome. Brian says, much love. Chris, thank you so much. You're absolutely welcome. Listen, we need you to share this, okay? We're not interested in, we're not making any money, okay? We don't have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're not, I think we actually made like $5 on Facebook now or something I saw the other day. So this isn't about money. It's not about fame. It's not about clicks, okay? What this is about is getting the information out to parents and into the hands of kids so that they can be protected from these PDF files that are out there looking to destroy them. And final note, if you see something on Instagram or TikTok where you see a child doing something that you know is going to attract the PDF files, you can comment. There's nothing wrong with commenting on their profile and just say, hey, be aware of sexual predators. They're all over the place. Just tell them something, because some kids aren't aware that it's that dangerous. But there's a lot that we can do. And let's continue to work together to do that. You can visit our website, protectyourchildren.org, protectyourchildren.org. We do ask if you can help us out in any way, please do that, whether that's praying for us, sharing the information, or donating. We have a lot of expenses, and we have to continue to produce live shows and pay for the software. There's a lot of expenses that we have. No one here takes a salary, nobody. Okay, this is all volunteer. But we want to be able to promote the content to get it into the hands of the people who aren't aware. And you can help us do that through a tax-deductible donation made on our website. So please consider doing that. And until next week, keep an eye on our social medias. We continue to post there all week long. Thank you for everybody being here. I can't list them all, but we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for listening to all this information. You might want to go back and re-listen to it again. There's a lot there. But in any case, you can find the information on our website in the Protection Guidelines tab. Please check it out. Until next week, this is Chris with Protect Your Children Incorporated, protectyourchildren.org. Protectyourchildren.org is the website. Stay tuned. God bless everybody out there. Stay safe and keep protected.